Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Daily Voices FCIAC Football Fast 5. Everything you need to know about Fairfield County High School football, all in about 5 minutes. I'm Eric Gendron. With me once again is former Stanford High School head football coach and agent for JL Sports, Kevin Jones. Kevin, great to have you back.
Great to be here.
All right, let's break down Week 3. Let's go for it. Alright, let's recap our game of the week. St. Joe's defeats Darien in double overtime, lived up to its billing as game of the week, might end up being one of the games of the year. Now, focusing on Darien, how much pressure does this put on a banged-up Blue Wave squad to win out, and more importantly, can they do it?
Darien got exposed in this game on several occasions. St. Joe's didn't always take advantage of it, but they had coverage issues where there's 4 wide receivers running down the field and only 3 Darien guys covering them. They had safeties on the same side of the field and guys running free, so they got exposed a little bit. They got to get that shored up, because people are going to really take advantage of that going forward. So is there a lot of pressure on them? Yeah, they got to get that straightened out. Can they win out? Very talented team, explosive offense. I like this team a lot. I think if they're going to make the FCIAC game, they're going to have to win every single game, because obviously Staples is sitting there in the middle of their schedule. That's going to be a huge game for them. And to make states, well, 2 lost teams can get into states, but also 2 lost teams get left out of states, and it kind of you're going to need some help to get in. So I think there is a lot of pressure, whether they realize it or not. There's a lot of pressure on Darien to win the rest of their games.
Going to have to beat Staples if they want to get in the playoffs.
No doubt about that.
Okay, Ridgefield handled Stanford pretty easily, and starting quarterback Connor Rowe was on the sideline the whole time. Kevin, what happened to your Black Knights?
Well, first of all, you have to give a lot of credit to the backup quarterback, Ryan Dunn. Very nice job, son. You find out on Thursday night that the starting quarterback is suspended for a game, and now you're the starter. You come in and play the way you did. It's a great job. What went wrong for the Black Knights? Well, as coaches, we can make this game as complicated and as confusing as we want to make it, but the essence of the game is still very simple. You got to block, you got to tackle, you got to score more points than the other team, you got to take care of the football, and Stanford failed to do a few of those things. Most glaring was their inability to make tackles when they needed to, and they had a lot of long plays for Ridgefield that should have been short gains, and they just couldn't wrap up. They had guys out of position. It wasn't a good night for the Black Knights. Ridgefield did a serviceable job of trying to take away the Stanford run game, tried to make them one-dimensional. Stanford had to pass more than they wanted to, and once Stanford lost that balance on offense, they weren't nearly as effective as they had been the previous 2 weeks.
All right, Westhill is on a winning streak. Let that soak in a little bit there. The Vikings have Central, Franklin, Mass, and Danbury coming up in the next 3 games. Kevin, what are the chances Westhill can win those 3 games, and all of a sudden their Week 7 game against Greenwich has playoff implications?
Hey, there's always a chance. But let's not forget, this was a team that a few years ago went 5-5, and they wanted to get rings made, okay, like a championship ring. So I don't think they've had a winning season since 1983. There's a tremendous amount of pressure on this Westhill team this year to go and win a bunch of games now that they're off to a hot start. Can they do it? There's a lot of bumps on that schedule. But let's get there first. I think they've got to look at this week, Bridgeport Central. This is a matchup that's going to create some nightmares for Westhill, and I would not look past this game if I'm the Vikings, because Bridgeport Central is going to be very dangerous for them this weekend.
All right, Staples vaporized McMahon this past weekend, putting up 49 first-half points, 28 in the first quarter alone before letting the backups take over. We know Staples is good. They're on a bye week now, Kevin. In your experience, what are the pros and cons of a bye week at the high school level?
First of all, vaporized. Very nice word. I like that a lot. Pros and cons of a bye week. For the players, it's awesome because you get some time off. For the coaches, it's awful because you don't know what to do with yourself. You want to practice every single day, but it doesn't make sense. You don't want to wear the players out. The advantages, if you're banged up, if you lost a big game, if you need to correct things, this bye week is awesome because now you can slow things down, go back to a teaching pace, get things corrected, get healthy, get back on track. If you're on a roll, it's awful because it messes with the mojo. You don't want to mess with the mojo when you're on a roll. You don't want to take that break. You want to stay in the rhythm of the season.
All right, that brings us to our Daily Voice Game of the Week this Friday, 6 p.m., Wilton at Ridgefield. Wilton having a bit of a down year maybe, a little early to say, but what is it about rivalry games that always brings out the best in teams?
Well, you want to know what's great about rivalry games, go to YouTube and type in, Desmond Howard punt return versus Ohio State, and you'll see 5,000 videos pop up, and he's still on the cover of video games for that punt return. He wins the Heisman, they beat Ohio State. You can become a legend in a rivalry game. So I played in this Ridgefield-Wilton game a bunch of times as a player. It's a great game, proximity to the towns. The great thing about rivalry games, it's going to heighten the awareness of the players. It creates pressure, whether it's real or perceived, and it's going to create a forum for the great players to rise up and make plays in this rivalry game. And the players that aren't so great, they're going to go hide underneath the table and hope somebody else makes a play. So I love rivalry games because every once in a while you're going to get that player that makes that one play, and people are going to talk about it for years.
All right, that'll do it for another week of Fairfield County High School football. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see how Week 4 shakes out. Until next time, I'm Eric Gendron.